G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an anti-tank rifle. It's a standalone rifle with custom sounds and animations based on a weapon called the Whalegun, 4x, more on that one later, from a game called Beyond Citadel, which is like a first-person shooter. It's like anime characters and all cartoony, and yeah, I've never seen it before, but I looked up what Beyond Citadel was, and there was a Whalegun. It looks quite like this. There's a little bit of lore flavor on the weapon mod page, which I quite like, so I'll quickly summarize it. During the years of the Second World War, the idea of having an anti-tank rifle kinda went out of style. It was at the midpoint where tank armor would be sufficiently strong and advanced enough to pretty much shake off any of these man-portable anti-tank rifles that you might carry around. The idea was to just put a big bullet through the armor and kill the crew inside, or perhaps damage components. But before the outbreak of the Great War, with the deployment of powered armored soldiers and armored mechanized combat units such as Assaultrons, Mr. Gutsies, and also Sentry Bots, the idea that China might follow suit and develop that kind of technology for their own was a pretty big threat. So the easiest way to deal with that was to make a big giant rifle firing big giant 20mm bullets, because you could easily destroy the robots and the components therein should you get through the armor plating with these things, and if you hit the power armor soldier, it might not penetrate them, but the concussive effect might neutralize your target by knocking them unconscious. So with all that, you've got a high caliber rifle firing 20mm autocannon bullets for the express purpose of wiping out armored targets and possibly stuff standing around them as well. Neat. Now back to game speak. So these rounds are provided by the mod itself. There is a munitions version of this thing, but for some reason you can't craft the suppressor while using the munitions version of this mod, so I've decided to go without it. There's also patches for weapon overhauls and everything, but I've left that alone too. There's also options to have this thing fire a completely hit scan bullet, which I've opted not to do because, well, we're firing a big tank shell sort of thing, so, you know, it gives you license to spam skill issue in the comments if I miss a shot, so have fun with that. Let's get into the attachments. First of all, you've got the receivers. This is all pretty cool stuff. We've seen a lot of this from the hunting rifle, although the advanced receiver is replacing that 50 caliber rechamber, but the overpowered receiver gives us the most damage, so we'll throw that one on, sure. Next up, we have the barrels. Now, taking a quick look at this weapon's weight, it weighs 46 pounds, which is massive. And at that stage, you may as well, like, forego any option to reduce the weight on this thing, because you're not going to make any, like, massive differences here. Like, what's 2 pounds of 46? Not much. So, honestly, at this point, make sure your character's got enough strength and make it as heavy as possible for the most power that you can get out of this thing. But the short barrel gives us a range that is not that great and accuracy that is okay, I suppose. But the stub barrel will reduce that even further, the range and accuracy, and also reduce the weight by only a small amount. And by the way, 46 pounds, that's about 1.5 fat men. Check it out, 30.7 pounds. Get out of here, fatso. So naturally, your highest tier barrel will give you a slight weight penalty, but it's a lot lighter than your standard sniper barrels. This one will give you the most range. You'll get a small accuracy penalty, which is, I don't know, feels like that's kind of backwards, but you'll get yourself a range stat that is worthy. Although we should temper that by saying that, yes, our hit scan projectiles, or our projectiles aren't going to be hit scanned, so it's going to be a little bit hard to make use of all of that range, so you could argue that's a little bit too much, but your VATS accuracy over range will be pretty awesome, so I suppose we'll leave that as is. Next, we've got the stock, and I think I'll keep the barrel on the light, but you can't see when I change stuff, so we'll just shorten that. Okay, so you get a full stock, a marksman stock, which will help your scope sway whilst you're aiming down sights, potentially very useful for a long-range sniper role if you want to do your manual shots, and a recoil compensating stock, which it's a bolt action rifle, so recoil reduction is not super mandatory. If you feel like it'll be more comfortable for your shooter's shoulder, then sure, go for it. But marksman stock seems to be the best option for this thing, just for stabilizing that scope sway a little bit. Got a magazine. You can have standard, large, and quick eject versions of each. So we'll throw on quick, large mag, and we'll go on to the sights. Now, if you use these sights, these iron sights are actually a little bit misaligned, but I think it'll be fine to use anyway. But if that irks you a little bit, then completely understand. There's also options for glow sights, and there's reflex sights here for that more close quarters role for better AP usage when you do use this thing invest. But there's also options for scopes, including standard scopes, night vision scopes, and recon scopes, all with multiple different versions of the magnification: 4, 6, 10, and 14. I think 14 is kind of pushing it, but if you really want to get to see the color of your enemy's eyes in a very long range, perhaps at render distance, then go right ahead. I think a standard scope on this thing at times 10 would be quite enough, I think. We'll go sniper setups in this one to start off with. And now we go over to the muzzles. We've got a compensator here, no muzzle at all, which will increase your range. There's also a muzzle brake, which looks really awesome, but reduces your range for balancing reasons. Advanced muzzle brake, which helps you with the recoil even further. But as I was speaking about before, like the recoil, you don't have to worry about that much because it's a bolt action rifle. You're not gonna miss any shots because the recoil push your barrel up too high. So it's there for looks, and it does need to look cool. Perhaps less cool with the barrel as is, but if we go for a suppressor, we get boosted by Ace Operator. It does reduce our range and accuracy a little bit, but it's worth it for that extra damage boost gained out of this thing. We've got a legendary effect provided by legendary modification, which we'll leave off. And now we can change the different types of ammunition. So this one utilizes armor-piercing rounds by default, or you can throw on some high explosive rounds, which will give you a nice explosive area of effect. I mean, everyone knows what explosive rounds are. I don't need to explain that one to you. Next, we've got the bipod. You can have no bipod, extended, or folded, and according to this, you'll be able to hold your breath for longer when sneaking and not moving. And improved weapon stability when you aim down the sight. Very nice. That synergizes pretty well with our marksman stock, don't you think? And you can change the material on this thing. Desert Storm, green meanie, white wood, red wood, sacred iron, standard, tactical black, the gray. Go tactical black, undetectable by radar. Great. I think it's kind of normal if I'm on the ground anyway, right? Anyway, so there's our anti-tank rifle. Just got to put the finishing touches on. There we go. Now that is an anti-tank rifle worth shooting some red bastards with stolen power armor in, don't you think? Sure is. Did I go over the round types on this thing? I don't think I did. So it starts off with just the standard armor-piercing rounds, gives you armor penetration and limb damage. Now, this thing is actually spec'd to use the rifleman perks to increase its damage, which is kind of strange because as a weapon like this, you could almost class it as a heavy weapon, and giving the heavy weapon players, if you're doing a build with that sort of run, giving you the ability to utilize a sniper weapon in this weapon makes a whole lot of sense to me. But as it stands, with the rifleman perk, you get armor penetration, and it synergizes well with this particular rifle armor piercing round that we're using right now. It's also got the depleted uranium rounds, which fire a radioactive projectile. Depleted uranium, very dense, used for armor penetrating rounds, like the Saber round that they use in the M1 tanks. It's very cool, but you get a bit of flavor with the radiation damage here because it's a radioactive metal, so that's cool. That's uranium. You also get high explosive rounds. That's pretty self-explanatory. Less direct damage, but you deal splash damage to everything around you. Incendiary gives you a little bit of energy damage. It seems to split it a little bit between the energy damage and the ballistic damage, so, you know, it also gives you that little extra fiery flavor as reduced impact damage and splash damage. Well, I suppose the 20mm rounds have enough size to have an explosive charge in them, so sure, that's fine. There's also these practice rounds, which gives you a chance to knock down at a high chance of stagger, reduce armor penetration, and out-of-range damage. Interesting. I don't really know. I mean, you could probably use that against your softer targets and knock them down. There's a lot of utility in that. And yes, since, again, a rifleman weapon with semi-auto or not automatic, you get the sniper knockdowns with this thing with a scope. Anyway, with a sniper rank too, so interesting. There's also the synth spawning grenades, but we'll talk about those later. If you don't have the munitions version of this mod, what you can do is craft your ammunition for this thing under 20mm autocannon. It's right up the top because it starts with a 2, you understand. You give armor piercing, depleted uranium, explosive, incendiary, practice, which looks like a dummy round. Interesting. There's also options for synth relay, which requires you to kill 4 synths and harvest their components. If you aren't allied with the institute, you're just going to shoot the weapon. It's going to create enemies for you, even though the institute might be destroyed. I'm pretty sure the grenades still work post-institute being destroyed. You can also scrap the rounds you have in your inventory, probably for the raw materials, of course, but yeah, that's pretty nice. It requires you scrap a perk for flavor. I'm going to craft a couple of these, and then we'll go and find some of these uniques, man. The anti-tank rifle is injected onto level lists. You can find it in a multitude of places. In vendors at level 30, raiders and gunners at level 30, trappers at level 25. Operators will spawn with this thing. You can find this thing in military bases, so go to Fort Strong with the Brotherhood, walk out with a couple of anti-tank rifles sort of thing. That's kind of cool. But anyways, so yeah, there you have it. And for some reason, she's got absolutely heaps of them. Cool. There is also an optional patch that gives it to the Enclave remnants that spawn in from the Creation Club slop thing, so you can get that as well. There are a few uniques in the game. The first one can be obtained from the Institute itself. Unfortunately, this place is a smoldering crater, so we had to open up a space-time continuum thing, and that was unfortunate, but we'll just place another one of him, and then we'll go into his barter menu. And with this, we can go and find the Talifrag rifle. That is not dead, which can eternal lie. And with strange aeons, death may die. That's Lovecraftian, isn't it? I recognize that from Metallica song lyrics, the thing that should not be. Anyways, fires synth relay grenades that spawns leveled synth, increased damage, reduced armor penetration, instant cripple, and knockdown. Ah, okay. So there's more utility to that than that. I'm getting AWP vibes out of this thing. Maybe it's the color scheme, but honestly, AWP. Anyway, so we'll be purchasing that. Thank you very much. 16 grand. And with service. The next unique can be found within the glowing sea. Here we've got it adjusted for visibility, but what you want to do is go onto this part of the map where Sentinel Side is if you've done the quest for the Brotherhood of Steel. It's the giant pyramid, which you see right there. And up atop there is a person. I was going to say a man, but it is clearly not a man. Anyway, so now we can see her, and is there bullet drop as well? Well, that's a shame. I guess we'll just have to use this at point blank range. Hope she doesn't get the drop on me.
Adam will lead us all to glorious division.
Oh, okay. She's bulletproof. No, she's just really tough. Oh. Okay, I thought she was carrying railgun, but she's just protecting it. From Hell's Heart, I stab at thee. Mines and grenades shot in vats explode for quadruple damage. Does more damage the lower your health is. Reduced per shot recoil. And obviously, Whalegun reference to its Beyond Citadel incarnation. And similar to, say, the Elephant Gun, taking the name of a big mammal and putting a gun after as a suffix. And there you go, big gun. I've got no idea what the martyr's problem is. I've just disabled her AI so she'd stop shooting at me, but she's got like that bleached hair, so maybe that's supposed to be what the anime girl thing you play as in Beyond Citadel, which gives, you know, the meaning to that Whalegun name. But I'm just gonna leave you in here in perpetual stasis. Enjoy yourself, idiot. The next unique can be found in the Railroad HQ on Tinker Tom. You gotta buy it from him. Anyway, so here's Harkonnen the Third. Bitches love cannons. Plus 25% damage, plus 100% recoil. Does increasing amounts of damage as the night grows longer and less damage during the day. As that's nocturnal and violent. If you are not yet in combat, increases VAT's accuracy but costs more AP. Cannot switch ammo. Interesting. Well, okay, well, honestly, those lineup of legendary effects past the first one aren't very appealing, but I suppose there is a merit for that one. This one's only 15 grand. That must be the Black Widow perk kicking in. Anyway, so in the theme of shooting everyone I bought the weapon from, the next unique will require you to go out to Nuka-World. We're at a location called the Grantchester Mystery Mansion. It was one of these horror attractions, but here it is on the map, and there's Nuketown, USA for reference. So go through the cell, get jump scared by the ghost in the attic, and you'll find this weapon in the room. So here's the door. You've got the chest here and a red toolbox there. Just go behind them. You can't miss them, and you'll find C115 Eraser. To whom it may concern, fires 20mm high explosive armor piercing or semi-piercing incendiary shells that ignore line of sight. Plus 1 ammo capacity, reduced per shot recoil. Well, maybe that extra ammo capacity will come in handy, but yeah, it's cool. It's got red markings on it. It looks like a black background. That's neat. I wonder if it glows. Probably doesn't. The last unique can be found back in the Commonwealth. It is located within Fort Strong. Now, you'll go here for the quest, Show No Mercy with the Brotherhood of Steel, but I'm pretty sure if the Pridwin's not even here, you can just walk in. Just be prepared to fight a few super mutants on the way in to get it. So go in there, go down the elevator, and find yourself this storage room. You'll know it when you see it because you've got this weirdly over-designed forklift truck in here, which is somewhere between an excavator and a forklift, and I don't like it. It's yellow, you can't miss it. Anyways, in this room, go to the very west thing under this platform, and you'll find Enola Gay, which is an interesting weapon because, well, it's the same name as the plane that dropped Little Boy on Hiroshima. Although it should be called Boxcar instead, because that's the plane that dropped Fat Man on Nagasaki, so doesn't that make much more sense? Because what's the whole purpose of getting in here? Well, to stock up on Fat Man shells, and it's Enola Gay, it's the Little Boy, so yeah, that's weird. Also, it's pink, which, sure, whatever. I think the design would be cooler having those classic bomber pinup girls on the side there. There's plenty of room there, but instead we get a boring pink color. Lame. Anyway, so I like big bombs and I cannot lie. Fires 20mm nuclear shells, nice. Reduce fire rate and reload speed. I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. And you can also find some of these nuke shells in here as well, so a little bit of that ammunition to load you up. So there you have it. That's all of the uniques, and I think that light's just painted. Nope, oh, there it is. Alrighty, welcome back to Immersive Gunners Plaza. Here is our anti-tank whale gun in first person, and check out that scope sway. Now, check it out when I crouch. I've got the bipod and a marksman stock, and it is as stable as you could ever possibly want it. There's a little bit of sway, but that's not going to be enough to really get your accuracy down too bad. See that crow? I'm keeping the crosshair on him at all times from back here, so very, very nice. A quick look at this thing in third person. So this is the suppressed armor-piercing version. I'd say sniper status, but well, I think it's a little bit more than that. See, if I was playing a male character, that would be definitely compensating for something, don't you think? Next, we've got this one. This is Harkonnen the Third. I've got a reflex sight on this thing for superior VATS usage, and the reason I put that on is because it'll just make my AP a little bit better. And we're carrying some grenades so we can get them to detonate for quadruple the amount of damage. Next, we've got this one, which is, hang on, Whalegun. It's Whalegun. I can tell it's Whalegun because it's got that gold breach, yes! Sorry, it's been a few days. I'm recording these over multiple days now because I don't have a lot of time from work. Anyway, this is explosive. Pretty much the same setup as we saw, but slightly different. And we've also got Talifrag rifle here. This is the one that I got from the synths. I've just got myself some ammos for this thing, and it does shoot a little synth thing, so we'll be able to sow distraction and chaos from afar using this thing if we need such a thing, but that will cancel our sneak critical, so as a stealth weapon, it sort of limits our options, I suppose. And here's Enola Gay in all of its pink painted glory, loaded up with those mini nuke rounds or micro nuke rounds, and I think that's pretty much all of it. I suppose we'll look at a Razor as well, because yeah, that paint, it's kind of subtle actually. You can barely see it unless you're up close, but it's sort of got that carbon fiber texture, which I dig quite a lot. So we'll start off with just some basic sniping, but look, honestly, you didn't come here to watch me just snipe them with normal rounds. You want to see explosions, don't you? Don't worry, I got you. Okay, just have to reload the game because her eyes were weird and buggy and she looked half asleep. But here we are, let's go sniping. Now, as a reminder, these things are not hit scan projectiles, so we'll have to lead our targets a little bit, or rather wait for the rounds to get there if we decide to shoot them and they are not moving. I think we got cucked there by by the net. Anyways, so we'll just get Enola Gay out and we'll start blasting them with that. So we'll find a big pack of them. Oh yeah, that's what you want. That splash damage. You got to make use of all of this grouped. Oh, hello. Is it a little bit stupid for me to use this thing at such a close range? Sure is, but even stupider for her to stand still and take it. I somehow missed. That's fine. Let's just continue blowing them up, I suppose. There's a couple of these explosives that ignore line of sight. I'm thinking that I could nail that cheeky gunner who's decided to take cover behind that barricade there. So let me find her, and then we'll see what we can do. I think it's a razor. Yes. No hiding for you, buddy. Also, there's a little bit of an electric sort of sting when this thing fires, which that's kind of cool. Notice how, yes, there is a little bit of travel time, but I actually don't mind the bullet velocity. We're not talking painfully slow levels of, say, plasma guns here. This is actually properly fast. Honestly, it's a bit like shooting the 20mm cannons on top of your light armored vehicles back in Battlefield, so it's taken me back. Feeling good. And in slow motion, you get to see that trajectory a little bit further, and I stood up and, yeah, scope sway for days, even in slow motion. Like, that's crazy. Let's just, there we go. I suppose we'll exhaust the amount of rounds here, and those trees you're hiding behind, they're not going to protect you. Well, I'll do more damage for direct hits, but still, it is pretty nice that we're able to hit them when we normally wouldn't be able to because of line of sight. So there's utility in that, I suppose, especially with this bulletproof net. You're not so smart now, are ya? Okay. What's next on the list? I could use a telefrag rifle, because what'll happen is I'll shoot something and then next thing you know, synth will spawn and they're all distracted. Now, unfortunately, I'm not allied with the Institute, so it will be hostile to me as well. But the Institute is destroyed and you can still use this thing anyway, which is fun. And paired up with the fact that you can shoot someone with it, it'll kill them, and then you can pretty much spawn a synth in their place. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna get you to stop, friend. Chop that. Okay, we're on precious few rounds with this thing, so let's use it in its intended purpose. So there's a bunch of synths standing around here. We'll toss the grenade. Then, if we hit this grenade, it'll get quadruple damage, which for a nuke grenade, it should do a lot. This is like the first time I've thrown a grenade ever for a weapon video. I missed. I missed! Am I out of grenades now? No. Let me try this again. This time we're gonna hit it more. Hooray. Okay, I think there is the crux of this thing. Since it's not hit scan, you might suffer a little bit, and 20mm for about 200 damage. She was a tough one. I'm glad I took her out. I think she was a Terminator. Anyway, so Whalegun. This one should be explosive. I've got many explosive rounds just for these guys. Little baby level 1 gunner. Just chilling out. That's fine. You're not a threat. These ones are, though. With their Witcher 3 haircuts. I see that. I'm so glad CG Project Red don't get... Oh, look. Rust Devils. That's fine. Just more things to shoot at. The funny thing about this rifle is that its hipfire is actually pretty good. So if you get this thing spec'd to maximum VATS use and using it in close range is kind of an option. Not to mention satisfying. See, this is like a nostalgia trip because this is exactly what I used to do with an explosive anti-material rifle back in the day. And quite honestly, that was probably one of the more context-sensitive procs of Idiot Savant that I've ever had. Anyway, so are these chumps still in here? Yes. Don't bother trying to shoot through there, you can't. And if I did that with this rifle, then no more legs for Raine, which means no more running around and no more blood. He's throwing a grenade at me. I was nowhere bloody near it. Okay, well, fine. I think you get the point, though. We totally won. Hello, I rejoin you up in a tree. You see this tree? I use it to hang communists. But today, we're testing whether this thing just blows up from under you. There is no way that I'm hitting this tree stump, even in this direction. Okay. What if I do this? Why did it... It exploded right under me. What's going on here? Okay, maybe that tree is cursed. So what I've done is I've found one that is exactly the same. I've actually noticed a lot of these trees are the same. Like, check that one out. Like, that's the same one there. And I'm pretty sure, yep, there's like plenty of communist hanging trees around here. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes it just explodes from under me. Like, there it is. Right there. Right there. Is it because it exploded on the tree? Like, that's nowhere near. The barrel is nowhere near it. I don't understand it. Well, I'm confused, so let's just move on. We'll kill a monster. So there's Mr. Super Mutant. He goes down. Plenty of explosions to send him on his way. And yes, look at that. Good old-fashioned sniper knockdown. Although I think it's because I hit him with that Fat Man shell that knocks people down. I don't know if I got a mod that does that, but it's very satisfying to see him knocked on his ass like that, don't you think? So what we're going to try to do is try to make him do a couple of cartwheels. And would you imagine that this thing's VAT efficiency isn't all that crash hot, which is fine. We're not expecting delivery spec here. But if you've got a handy critical saved up for something, that went right through him, and you all saw that. You can't say skill issue on that one. That's a Todd issue. That's not on me. So as you can tell, it is a perfectly capable sniper weapon. Don't think anyone would have thought otherwise when looking at a weapon of this caliber. But yeah, I mean, you can just keep your enemies at bay. The knockdown is kind of an icing on the cake there, but there's going to be nothing they can do if you've got enough bullets to run this thing. Also, it works with classic holstered weapons. If you've got a long barrel suppressed version, you might notice that it clips through the ground, which is funny. Like, see that suppressor? It's going right through the train carriage if I stand there. But that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's normal. Okay, let's lock in here, as the kids say, and we'll see what we can do against the Wendigo and his friends. Now, these guys move extremely fast, so my work's cut out for me here. Oh my god. Honestly, I should just target this guy. Yeah, that's way better. He's still moving far too fast for me to keep up with. I think the scope magnification is a little bit too much, but at this stage, that's a normal sniper knockdown. Now, question is he going to disappear? Yes. Yes, he is. Oh, wait. No, he got back up. He's still up and about. And check out his sprinting. He's fast. That's a proper sniper or a sneak critical there. And no more VATSing. We're going to do this without VATS, even if we have to hip fire him for the last couple of shots. But that's doing surprisingly well against this Wendigo, and oh, the boys are here. Actually, nope, can't do that. I was gonna use gun fu, but that's not happening, is it? Uh-oh. Well, that's nerd rage, so I'm gonna use that. That's free slowdown. See, I didn't even miss a shot at all during all of that. That's hit with a Stray of Acadia as well. I don't even think I hit Nerd Rage properly before I had my untimely demise. Nice. Okay, that was cool. Let's move on. Another monster. Let's keep him going. Okay, today we're gonna kill the Mirelurk King again, and we've got Telefrag Rifle. Now, instead of dealing with these raiders, what I might do instead is excuse me? Are you gonna pay attention to me? Thank you. I'm gonna shoot them a few times, kill a few of these. That guy literally dissolved into a synth. That was cool. And, well, enjoy your robot problem. I'm gonna be over here. And you know what? Just for good measure, one more. Sure, you might aggro me, but I'm pretty sure you'll be, perfectly, aggroed on all of the things instead. Also, it gives you the opportunity to have the funniest loop ever. You shoot a synth, another synth spawns in his place, and what do you get out of it? XP, baby. $10,000. Nice. Well, I guess I'm going for the legs. Otherwise, this critical will be for naught. Yeah, I don't think it's a particularly big surprise that this thing can take Mirelurk Queens in one shot now, is it? Anyways, so there's Mr. Mirelurk man down there. The sniper knockdown on him. Now, is he going to disappear? Yeah, there he goes. Well, there's not much else for me to do other than to, wait, he come back. Great. I suppose we'll just keep this going then. Totally whiffed that one. That's better. This is why we don't make you a sharpshooter, Raine. Soon there's gonna be more synths than he can possibly handle. And funny enough, like, the synths, they know where he teleports to. I think this time he's gone for good. We've sent him to the moon, so we'll need a portal gun to reach him now. So, yeah, that's the problem with these upscale enemies. They're a little bit funny when it comes to how they handle the sniper knockdowns and how they reset. So we'll just shoot these chumps instead. Yes, the explosive round makes short work of them. I don't think there's anything that I could use here that would alleviate the knockdown symptoms other than like hip firing them. So yeah, it is what it is. But look, I think you get the idea. So that there was the Whalegun anti-tank rifle. So I've had a pretty good time with this weapon. It's a very hard-hitting weapon. I still think it'd be better served as a heavy gunner role for that sort of that sniper type weapon for that sort of playstyle. If you're going for like a one type weapon sort of build, but you know, I'm not going to say no to the sniper knockdowns and such from the rifleman perks and sniper meshing together well. But yeah, if you want to see this weapon in your game, check out the link in the description. It should be down there. Go download it. I recommend it highly because it's a whole lot of fun. You could argue that it's a little bit overpowered. Just the massive amounts of damage that I was getting might upset the delicate balance of the vanilla game, but that's okay. You can just add in strong enemies to compensate for it and then just engage in the biggest power fantasy trip sniper anti-tank rifling you've ever done. Link will be in the description if you want it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. How good does Raine look without her face paint, covering up her elegant features and also a better haircut there instead of the Raider haircut? She looks cleaned up now. She's kicked the drug habit and now she's healthy.